What's up guys, it's FoxRG here. Today we are going to be going over all the TTKs and STKs of the assault rifles. So we're going to compare them and have an outcome of the best AR that you should be running in Apex Legends. Mind you, these vary from different to different. As you can see, there is some that are very skewed just because it is a burst AR. We'll be going over that in the video. So be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification. Also comment down below on what gun you are going to be using. Alright, let's just dive into it. So the first one right here we have is the TTKs, the time to kill for the head, the chest, and legs. Each of them doing different values of damage. Havoc right here, if you're just shooting heads is blue. If you're just hitting heads, it's just over 500 milliseconds right here. Chest, a little bit higher, and even higher that. It is very similar to the flatline just because the flatline and Havoc do the same amount of damage. I do believe that flatline's recoil pattern is so much easier to deal with. Now going over to the Hemlock burst, it's a little bit skewed because it's doing 27 damage per shot and get 3 shots out of the burst. So if you hit all those on your head or the enemy's head, you're going to be doing like 80 something damage, but it does change. Like, it's hard to detail because of the damage that you get out of it. So when you're further back, when you're at further range, you're not going to be hitting all those 3 shots. So this gives you more of a detailed oriented outline of what it's going to be doing. So if you switch to a single shot, you're going to have a higher TTK. It is a great weapon up close if you can hit all your shots, or even at that medium range. It is a great gun to use. Now the R301 is probably the easiest gun to use for recoil. The rounds per minute is very high, so you are going to get a skewed, or you're going to get a lower TTK because the rounds per minute is so much higher. Although the damage is a little bit lower, you're just able to get out the shots much quicker in comparison to the Havoc or Flatline. I personally like the Flatline. It's quick enough with RPMs of 600 or so, but at the same time you're doing enough damage if you're hitting 1 headshot or 2 headshots. That being said, let's go over to the shots per kill. Like I said before, the Havoc and the Flatline are very similar because of the RPMs, just for the fact that you're doing 600 rounds per minute, very similar damage, so the shots to kill is going to be very similar. Again, with the Hemlock burst, you are going to be doing much quicker damage if you're hitting all the shots, but with a burst, you're not always going to be hitting like a straight line. It's not always going to be shooting in the center of the gun, so it's sporadic. This is the Hemlock with the single shot, 27 damage, so 8 shots to kill roughly for heads, 12 or 11 for chest. Up there for 16 is the legs. And then your R301, since it does lower amount of damage but you're hitting more shots, you're going to see a higher STK because you need to hit more shots because it's doing lower damage. Alright, now let's look into actuals. So what I mean by actuals is when you're hitting 1 headshot in the mix and the rest being chest or even legs. That's what I'm referring to. So 3 headshots, 1 headshot. So 1 headshot, 3 headshots, 5 headshots, 7 headshots if you can somehow control the recoil or if they're not moving or anything like that. So let's look at that. The Havoc has a really good one. It's, like I said before, it's similar to the it's very similar to the Flatline. The Flatline looking a little bit better with the TTKs, even with the mix. As you can see here, it's just a little bit lower than the rest. Hemlock, if you're not using burst, it's very similar. Hemlock with the burst, it's hard to judge just because of the mix. I could go more into detail with this. So if you're getting 1 headshot out of the burst, it could change up this drastically. So if you're looking at single shots, if you're only doing 1 headshot, so with the Hemlock single shot, this is how the TTK is for that. So 1 headshot in the mix, you're still looking at TTK of just over 1,000 milliseconds, 1 second, if you're shooting at a very quick pace and hitting all your shots. That being said, the R301 is probably the best damage output just because of it shoots really quickly. It does a fair amount of damage, so you don't have to worry about that. As you can see here, 7 shots kill, or 7 headshots in the mix, you are drastically reducing it almost to like a burst rifle in a sense, right? For the shots to kill, if you're adding 1 headshot in the mix, obviously it's going to be changing your regular chest shot to kill. So this one is, I believe it's 12 instead of it being 13, and it changes a little bit like that once you add in 1 headshot, 3 headshots, 5 headshots, even 7 headshots into the mix. And all in all, if you do that, the shot to kill lowers drastically with the Hemlock, but you're probably going to be your best bet is using the R301. The recoil is super easy to control. I went over this in a previous video. If you want to check out, link's going to be up right up there, or even in the description down below. So the best gun to use all in all is probably going to be the R301, or if you do like it, personally like myself, I love using the Hemlock. It's slow enough to that I can control the recoil so I'm not missing a bunch of shots, but it's not super slow where I'm trying to shoot someone and they're moving and it screws me up, or I'm not wasting all my bullets like R301 because the round per minute is super high. So I personally like using the Hemlock Burst or even the Flatline because it's a little bit slower but not too slow. All in all, I'd go with the R301. It's a great gun, super easy to control the recoil. Look at my videos prior to this and you can see how the recoil pattern goes. Alright, that is it for this week's video on the best AR to use in Season 10 of Apex Legends. Like, subscribe, leave a comment on what you think about this. What should I do next? Alright, thank you guys very much.